Hi guys, I'm Mekli. Hi guys, I'm Rita. Hi guys, I'm Sara. We hope to see you guys from 2 to 8 p.m. on August 5th. There's going to be food, games, and music. በሚቀጥለው ቅዳሜ ኦገስት 5 መታችሁ አብራችሁ ከፈንዴ እናክብር። ብዙ ምግብ፣ ዘፈን እና ጨዋታ አለን። And don't miss out on our performance for English.
Hello. That was a very good video that you guys did. So who do we have here today? So I'm going to start. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So let me see if I have this. Okay. So let me see for the people who are joining us today. We are celebrating our 8th annual Ethiopian Day again through Massachusetts Ethiopian Association. It's going to be tomorrow, Saturday, at Danehy Park. We're going to be inviting all of you to be part of it. And then we have our amazing Enku Dankira group that we're going to be able to introduce. And then I'm going to start. Who wants to start? Is it Sarah on the end? Who do I see?
It's Aiden.
Aiden. Okay, so Aiden, Sarah, Dilawit, and Meklit. So okay, Meklit, you can get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Meklit Avil. I've been part of Enku Dankira. This is my second year actually, and I joined to get more involved in the Boston community and to be more involved in my culture.
Okay. How old are you, Meklit?
I'm 17. Yeah, it was
17. Dilawit.
Hi, I'm Dilawit. I'm 17 and I'm in 12th grade. I joined Enku Dankira because honestly, I saw a lot of my peers at church, just kind of like in my Ethiopian social circles, dancing, and I kind of wanted to be a part of a stronger Ethiopian community. So I've been dancing since 2018. So I think this would be my 5th year.
Good. Sarah?
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm 17 years old. This is my 3rd year in Enku Dankira. And I joined because I wanted to get closer with my community and have that, like when you're in the dance, like you become closer with the people in it. And I like that bond that I created with the people.
And hi guys, I'm Aiden. I am 17 years old and I started Enku Dankira. It's first year in 2015, so it will be my 8th year. And I joined mostly because I always looked up to how my sister and my cousins always dance and all their skills. And my goal was to always learn and how to dance, my cultural dance, and embrace it. So I thought it was a really nice community and opportunity to also get close to girls our age and boys.
Thank you for all of you for being here. I know you just came in from doing your practice and ready for tomorrow. Are you ready for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get started, tell people why they should be coming in tomorrow. Tell them where we're going to be and why they should join us tomorrow. Who wants to go?
So on August 5th is our Ethiopian Day celebration, and we're going to be at Danehy from, I believe, 2 to 8 p.m. And there's going to be food, dance, celebration, and it's just a nice gathering, and everybody should come and join. It'll be fun.
Okay, so what is Enku Dankira?
What is Enku Dankira? I didn't got that.
Yeah.
Enku Dankira is a dance group full of boys and girls from ages 6 to 17, where over the summer we learn our cultural dances and prepare ourselves for our Enku Tata's performance.
Okay. And then how long is the training that has Aiden? So how long have you guys been training?
We start mid-July until September.
Mid-July.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 days a week.
3 days a week. Wow. So you guys have been really committed to this. How many kids do you from that group?
Most of us come straight from work and we go straight to dance practice after dealing with a very tiring day. We go straight to dance practice, teach all these kids, and we just love being a part of the community.
I like that. So I think that brings me to the next question. So Delawit, how is this helping?
I've noticed that Inkudankira really helps bridge the gap between like like the youth that are not as connected with their culture. And it kind of helps them bridge the gap between that part of their life and their Ethiopian culture. And through Inkudankira, the youth are like they're also placed with other youth who are also like highly like, how would I put it? Who are very proud of their Ethiopian culture, so they can kind of like also submerge in that experience, also become stronger in their culture and more proud of it. And they're also just like here to like spend the summer with like older youth, kind of build relationships with like older kids, younger kids, kind of just like strengthen all bonds within the Ethiopian community, especially for those who don't feel as strong in their identity.
Okay, let's divulge more on that one. What does that mean, being proud as an Ethiopian?
I mean, I think to be proud to be Ethiopian, like for me specifically, means not being like scared or ashamed to like represented in all aspects of your life, whether that be like school, in your social circle, at work. Kind of like when people look at me, besides my appearance, they should know that I'm Ethiopian. Because like I just kind of represented in all like I represented at all times, and I'm just very proud of it. And I'm always like willing to share more about it, share about our cultural food, share about our cultural dances, kind of just like all aspects of the Ethiopian culture in all aspects in my life.
I like that. So just not just being from Ethiopia, but the culture, what you represent, who you are, you carry that with you. And you guys are doing really an amazing job with that. So I'm very, very proud of all of you. So I think that brings Meklita, if I come to you, what message do you have for other parents, communities? So what message would you have based on this thing?
So we really want them to choose to involve their kids within the community, because it's always important to surround your kids within the culture and a cultural place. Especially keeping your kids involved with the culture will help them grow with it. And not only that, but also be very confident in it as well. Like Ida said, it will keep you more embraced in your identity, and you'll know more about it, and you'll keep yourself up to that standard as you grow up.
I like that. So you've been doing in Guadalquivir how long, Maklit?
This is actually my second year. I started last year.
Okay. So that process, how many kids are involved this year? I know there was a lot this year.
I think there's around 70, so I think it's 69.
69, that's a big number.
Yeah, very.
Definitely. What is the age range?
The age range is from, I think so the younger kids group is from 6 to 12. And then the older kids, we split them up into two groups, and it's mostly based off of skill, but there's also an age like dependent on it, and it's from around 12 to like 15ish, and then 15 and above is in the second group.
Okay. And who wants to take this? I know I'm going to go to Sarah after this. So what would you be presenting? So there will be different kind of cultural dances. So how many songs usually do you practice or dances?
I think it's around five, right? Yeah, but we have one extra this year, and I think we're gonna try to do Shagoye.
Okay, I should have come to the studio and seen you dance, but I know I'm gonna see you guys all tomorrow, so that's gonna be amazing, like last year. So, Sarah, let me come to you. Said, how can parents or the community and everyone, how can we get involved? How do we, so that you guys can stay connected with your culture, not just with what you're doing with the Inkudankira, but as a whole, living in the US? How can we help for you? And then for the other kids, what would be the message to stay connected?
I feel like a way to like get people more involved and stay connected is by like bringing people together. Like for example, for Inkudankira, like parents, they bring their kids in, and they're able to like meet other kids that are also Ethiopian and Habesha, and like they got to like build a bond together, because they like during practices they spend time together. And also another way to keep and get people to stay connected is by hosting more like Habesha events, because the more events there is, the more time there is for people to come together and for people to spend time together and stay connected.
I like that. So we definitely didn't connect this. So this, I'm going to ask all of you, what do you see as the gap? Because you have chosen to be involved, and then there are some kids who are not really involved or who don't know much about the Ethiopian culture. So if you can have an insight, so I'm starting with Meklit and then we can go online. So what do you think the gap is, or what are we missing that so each and everyone that gets involved, and then this will be just your personal experience, what you see from school, what other kids are telling you, maybe if they're not involved, what it means. So just there is no right or a wrong question on I'm an answer for this one. It's just how you feel and what you experience.
So me specifically, I live in Malden. So it's a very diverse city, but I feel like there aren't many Habeshas. So I grew up in a place where I would see other cultures being more embraced than my own. So when I started coming to Cambridge more often, when I go to church, that's where I got to see my culture and started to embrace it as much. I'd say starting in around like 8th grade is when I started to be like, oh wow, like I'm Habesha. Why am I not proud about this? Why am I not like expressing this more? And I feel like because of that reason, I also feel like it's something that it's like depending on where you live, I feel like that's a really big factor. And another thing is I feel like we don't have a lot of events. Like I feel like most of our events are in the beginning. Like for example, that's in the beginning of that's for New Year's only. And then other than that, I feel like we don't really have any more big events unless it's like church related. But other than that, like I feel like we should have more big events to bring more people together and help them know more about their community. But that's me specifically, like my experience.
Oh, that's good. Adelaide?
Fortunately enough for me, like I grew up in Cambridge. There's a pretty strong Habesha identity here in Cambridge, so I never really felt like I was lacking in it. But I can definitely see that a gap comes from like I think like a strong part of it comes from like kids' social lives. Like when they're at school, I feel like there's like this idea that like African culture is not like is not something that should be like strongly like represented. So that causes a lot of kids at the time, like a lot of kids to like feel ashamed in their culture. And also like what Meklit was saying, like there's also like there's smaller things like church events, like the like people who go to church weekly, and there like youth can see like some of their Habesha culture. But I know for a lot of people, going to church is not about like connecting with people, but more so about like the religious Ethiopian aspect. So I think in that sense that it's a little lacking, like Meklit was saying, like other like events where it's like the point is to like connect with other youth and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of like the gap comes from that idea that like a lot of like culture that isn't American is something that like kids should be ashamed about, which is why like hosting events and things like this where youth can see other youth like being proud of their culture is something really important for them to see, so they can also continue the traditions throughout the generations.
I think you all mentioned about shame, so I'll come back to it at the end to close us. So I'm gonna ask you all to answer for that, but first let me go to Sarah. And then, so what do you think from your experience? What do you see?
I kind of agree with what Idil was saying. Like, I think the gap comes from like people are ashamed of like showing their like their Ethiopian side. They're like ashamed, like, oh, if I rep my culture, then people are gonna look at me weird or think about me weird. So I think that mainly that's where the gap comes from.
Okay. And Aiden?
I agree like what all they have said, like the shameful part, but I also feel like other ways to help bring us together would be like a community center, like Ethiopian community center. Just like Meklit, I was raised in Malden, and I'd always see like, oh, different countries have their community centers. Yeah. And there's one in an Eritrean community center too. And I'm like, that's very like, it's such a good way to collect the youth, especially together. And not only that, like, it's just, we would always have like a home, we could say. Yeah. Like a welcoming spot where people can meet. It's good for people to meet each other, create new bonds. And also like our Ethiopian community can also grow off of that as well.
I like that. There's a program that I'm doing, the Youth Voice. I think you guys will be really great to participate in that and then see what we need to change, I think. So when we say shame, it does have, so as a parent, what is it that I need to understand about when you're going to school? Because for us, walking around and saying I'm an Ethiopian, I don't really look associated with shame. And I'm proud to be able to express it and tell people, the world, how it is. Is it different for you guys? If it is a different experience for all of you at school? And then I'm going to start again with my colleagues. So because you all mentioned about the shame part, so maybe if we that, how can we help with that? And what do you see? Is it trying to see, because most of you don't even have an accent. For us coming in and here and speaking English, we have to learn it. So that's the only time I think I have seen the most of the struggle that we have gone through.
Yeah.
We never really think, because most of you are grow up here or born here, and you seem to be melting and blending much better. So, but if still that shame part is there, what is it that you see as shame? What does shame is it that you experience?
I feel like us, since we're diaspora, like we're people that live in another, we have two different identities. Basically, we're American, but we're also Ethiopian. And I feel like this is kind of hard for us to, I feel like growing up, again, like I'm from Malden, so it's a diverse city. And like whenever I'd bring injera to school, people would be like, oh, what's this? What are you guys eating? Like, is that your cultural food? And I used to be ashamed of that. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I don't want people to look at me weirdly. So I used to tell my mom I don't want her to give me injera to school anymore. And then like later on, I started to think like, wow, like there's no way that I'm being shameful of my own culture and shameful of things that I'm doing. And so later on, like as I got into high school, especially, I started to embrace it more. And people started to notice that, and they were like, wow, like you're really proud of being Ethiopian now. Like you're really representing it as not as much as you used to, like you're representing it so much. And that's something that I'm very proud about. I feel like it's like I love when people tell me that they know that I'm Ethiopian because of how much I'm representing it. And it shows me that I've honestly changed and I've grown as a person.
Amen. That means you have a lot to teach for others. So we will definitely capture on that one. So Danehy, what is like when you say shame, what is it that you're experiencing?
Yeah. When I say shame, like Meklit said, it's kind of like me, like I would like sometimes like suppress my Ethiopian side. I used to, for middle school, I went to a school where there was like a high population of like Habashas. And then now in high school, like I go to a private school, like it's majority white. Like I think a lot of shame comes from lack of representation within our social circles, within our school life. And I think when I was in middle school, when there was like a bigger representation of my Ethiopian culture, like Meklit was saying, like we have two different identities. Like we have this intersectionality between us, within us, because we're children of immigrants. So I think like when I was in middle school and I had there was like a high representation of all these Ethiopians, I was able to speak Amharic like basically every day, like to all my friends that I would see in the hallways. But then I got to high school, and it's a majority white school, so I didn't have this opportunity to like represent my Ethiopian side. And I think it's not that I wouldn't say that it's shame, because I'm a high schooler now, like I know my identity, I stand in my identity. But especially for the youth who are still growing around the ages of 12 and 13, who still are growing their identities, and their minds and bodies are growing, and there's so many factors that that are taken into consideration when they're building their identities. If they don't have this representation, then they're gonna turn to a place where there is representation, which is their American side. And if there's so much representation on their American side, they're gonna suppress their Ethiopian side.
Wow, I love that explanation. So we'll explore more of that. What about you, Sarah?
So when I went to elementary and middle school, there wasn't like a lot of Habashas. There was either like 2 or 3. So I didn't have like the space to really like be able to embrace my culture and have other people like with me. But when I came to high school, I came to Cambridge, and there's a lot of Habashas, and in each of my classes, I think there was at least one Habasha. So I was able to be in contact with them and talk to them, and it just and I was able to base my culture.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. So I like that. So, and then Aiden.
I would like to say, like, thankfully for me, I feel blessed, honestly, because like my parents made it their number one priority to always like to install like, oh, I'm Ethiopian. Your culture is rich. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But as I like, my middle school was also like not as many Habashas, and I'll look and I'll see like the other Habesha girls in my grade, like they won't really talk about their Ethiopian identity. And then I'll look at myself and reflect and like, oh, like there's the issue. And whenever I talk to them about it, they're always like, oh, we weren't surrounded. I didn't know, like my parents came from Ethiopia and they didn't really know anybody. And it's more so like because of the lack of the community, they haven't seen people around them be confident and prideful in their culture. So they just decide to keep it within them and like feel like ashamed or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, I love it. So this is one of the reasons why we're doing this as a Massachusetts Ethiopian Association is for the kids to be involved, cultures to be involved, for people to understand. We do at least 4 events a year, and I think we need to have you be involved more, not just like for the family days and New Year. Adwa is going to come up in March, so having you be part of some kind of role, like the all said, I think we need to be able to create that. I'll ask 2 questions and then we'll be done with it. One, the excitement for tomorrow. So each of you in your own words, why should people come? Because what you have done, what you have ready for them. So each of you might be repeated the same thing, but I want to hear from your voice. So this is your shout out for tomorrow. How you asking people to come, let them know where we're going to be, what's going to be. So each and every one of you have your own experience. So each of you will have your shout out. So Mekli, go ahead.
So again, it's going to be at Danehy Park from 2 to 8 p.m. There's going to be, I know I'm repeating myself, I'm repeating what Aiden said earlier. There's going to be a lot of food, music, celebration. Everything that we have is very organized. We have a lot of things that we're going to be selling for more fundraising towards Inkudankira and the MESA organization itself. And I think that's it.
Okay. Lawit, this is your shout out.
I think that tomorrow is a really good opportunity. Like I know that there's like a lot of like, because it's the summer, especially like for the older students, like they have a lot of commitments after like either work or like maybe like summer camp or something, and they're not able to attend every practice, which means that they won't be able to be a part of Inkudankira. But tomorrow through fundraising, youth can still find a way to support their fellow youth by like donating, buying some of the stuff that we're fundraising. And it's just a way to like actually see firsthand the commitment that we as the leaders have, and also like the commitment that is seen like with our dancers as well. Just kind of like get a taste of like what's coming, especially for us. So tomorrow's a good week to kind of just like get exposed to like kind of like into like the lives of us, and kind of like
Thank you. Sarah?
So guys, come tomorrow. Okay, guys, bring your friends and your family. There's gonna be food, drinks, music, and it's just gonna be a place to have a good time.
Aiden, your turn.
All right, I'll say last but not least again, come. We'll have a lot of activities. There will be games such as tug of war and other activities for people to, challenge each other with. There will be food. There will be items you can purchase, such as cultural attire. And I'll say, just come and enjoy yourselves, and it'll be we'll have a nice night.
That's good. So one last question for all of you. I mean, you heard it, for everybody who's watching us and is going to be sharing in. You're going to have this amazing Inkudankira kids, and then there will be food, there will be activities. There will be a lot of things that we can do because we've been doing this. Is the 8th annual year. So Massachusetts Ethiopian Association. It's going to be at Danehy Park at 2 p.m. So please come and join us. And then we're going to have like an eye mobile clinic for free. We will be having like eye check for anybody who's going to be there. So there will be a lot of things that people need to be able to join. Unfortunately and fortunately, all of you are graduating next year.
Yeah.
So what does the process, so that when people come in tomorrow, so that they can enroll other kids, and then you as leaders right now who led this have to press the button and give it to the other parents. So what's your message? So pretty much so that ending comment, why Unkudankira has been good for really for you, and then what you would plan to do so that you can pass along to this. So each of you. So I'm going to start this time from Eden, so that, and then I'll go to Sarah, and then McLeod will close us.
Okay.
I would say we would have our leader Titi, as you guys all know, and so she is the person that I advise y'all to go and talk to. You can register and sign up with her, and yeah.
What are you going to do personally to make sure that you are going to be replaced because you're all graduating next year?
Oh, we have ideas
Of who we want.
who we are.
Yeah.
So far, we are very lucky to have the girls we do. They're very responsible and mature, and we like. There's a lot of individuals. I'm not gonna say who, but yeah, we have them in our thoughts of who we think we're gonna pass
Okay,
down.
any-
And of
any-
course,
Go
Huh?
ahead. No, go ahead, Sorry.
no, you can go. It's okay.
Any, when you finish it, just this, any final word, anything you want to say?
Okay.
just say.
Okay. And I was also gonna say, we would also stop by and visit and check out on the girls throughout, because
Yeah.
we would be like moving out, whatever, near the end after Makratash to go off to college. But however, like the first two practices, we'll be able to come by and
We can
visit.
check in.
We're always a phone call away, so
Yeah.
we'll always like make sure we keep in contact.
Yeah.
Good,
And
congratulations.
my last words are to take pride and come to Ethiopian Day tomorrow.
Good. Sarah, any word? And then last closing us.
So I agree with everything Ada said. Like, we have an idea of who we want, and based on everything, we're gonna see and talk with TT and stuff, and to choose the leaders for next year.
Thank you. And Adelawit?
Yeah, like Aiden and Sarah both said, like we obviously already have ideas, and some of these like some of the factors that come like with like the people who we are considering replacing us next year are like they're very engaged. Like they put their 100% in every they're very engaged. They put their 100% in every practice. Like they contribute ideas to us for choreography, like on their own time, like very knowledgeable about their culture and kind of like have an overall genuine love for their culture. Also, of course, it's based on age, like seniority, but it's just kind of the most important thing is that they love their culture, they know about it, and they're excited to teach the others. And my closing words are to never be ashamed and to kind of like make sure that like your identity can be seen without having to be told to other people.
Yeah.
Amen to that. McLeod?
I feel like you guys kind of summed everything up. I don't really have anything else to say. Besides the fact that I think we have a very good amount of selected people that we are thinking of to replace us next year. And closing remarks, I would say, again, like everybody else said, never be ashamed to be Ethiopian, because like our culture is very rich and we should be proud of it. And please come to Ethiopian Day tomorrow.
That's right. I really appreciate all of you. You have done a lot of work. I cannot wait to see you perform tomorrow and everything that we do. Have a shout out, share this page for everyone who's here. And like I said, once again, it's going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Danehy Park, Cambridge. So please come in, have fun, entertain. This is our 8th annual event. Massage Ethiopian Association has been doing different events throughout the years, and tomorrow is going to be Ethiopian Day. So we want to see you all. And until tomorrow, we're going to close us again with the video that the welcome the girls have done. And then we will be saying to everyone, be ready for tomorrow. And we will be closing. Thank you for taking your time after practice, coming in and being here. So we have a lot to talk about. Tomorrow we'll share more about the youth voice. So here we go.
Hi guys, I'm McLeod. Hi guys, I'm Rita. Hi guys, I'm Sana. We hope to see you guys from 2 to 8 p.m. on August 5th. There's going to be food, games, and music. በሚቀጥለው ቅዳሜ ኦገስት 5 መታችሁ አብራችሁ ኢትዮጵያን ዴይ እናክብር። ብዙ ምግብ፣ ዘፈን እና ጨዋታ አለን። And don't miss out on our performance for English.
Thank you. And then with that, we end our closing. Once again, see you tomorrow. Don't
Yeah.
miss out. Share with your friends and everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.